Now the next thing in cash analysis. If the assessee is making cash payments, suppose for example there is a total of 40 lakh cash payments made, then definitely it is important to know what are those top heads where the maximum cash has been paid. Many times fake expenses are also entered through cash ledger accounts. So if there are thousands of transactions, it is very important that you must get a summary of such transaction so that you can effectively plan your audit investigation. Now let's see how to make a summary of all the cash payments made during the year. Now we know that there are two cash ledger accounts in this company. And if we want the summary of total cash payments, then it is always better to go through the group vouchers instead of the individual ledgers. So we will enter the group voucher which is available under the display menu. Display, account books, group vouchers. Now here we want cash in hand, so I will enter cash in hand. Once when you enter, you see the transaction for the month of March. But we need the transaction for the complete year. So you need to change the period with F2, leave the field blank and enter. Now what you see is the transactions for the complete year. Now we have a very specific requirement that we want only the payment transaction. So before we move further, we need to reduce this entire report to include only payment transaction. This can be done with the range function. Range function is available under F12, so press Alt F12. Here I need to give the condition that this report should be filtered to include only the payment voucher. The condition would be voucher having voucher type name containing payment. Enter, end of the list, end. Now what you see is all the payment transactions for the complete year. Our next requirement is we want a summary. Now it is not possible in Tally to create a summary of this transaction. The maximum that you can do is you can configure the report to have all the ledger account sorted alphabetically, increasing or decreasing order. So with this, you have sorted the entire report alphabetically. But our job is not complete. We want a summary. Now, in order to have a summary, we need to use the Excel tool. You have to export this report to Excel and thereafter apply a pivot table. For the export function, we need to press Alt E. E with a single line, so Alt E. I'll just change the name of this report as cash extract. And if all other items are okay, instead of pressing enter multiple times, you can press Ctrl A, enter. Within few seconds, this entire report will get transferred to Excel. This dialog box will appear. Press yes for this and you see the entire report is now available in Excel. In the date column, you will see educational in all those cells where the date is other than 1st, 2nd and 31st of that month. This is because we are working on educational mode. If you are working on licensed version, you can see the actual date. Now what is to be done here is select the complete table. In order to apply the pivot table, you have to start your selection from the column heading. Our table should start from this cell, that is the date cell. Press Ctrl Shift side arrow to select up to the last column and Ctrl Shift down arrow to have the last row in your selection. Now we don't want these 3 rows, so you can unselect them by pressing Shift and upward arrow. With this, you have selected the entire data that you want to incorporate into your pivot table summary. Once you are done with your selection, go to Insert, Pivot Table and Pivot Table here. Press OK. As you do this, you will see a small canvas ready for you. Pivot table is a very important tool because it summarizes the entire report in the format in which you want. Select the data, apply pivot and then design your report. We want the particulars column as row A label, so simply drag and drop this into the row label column. Now we want the credit column. Credit इसीलिए because our amount is given in the credit column in the original data. The credit column is to be taken in the value section. Now what you see is the entire cash ledger account of more than 700 entries have been summarized ledger name wise. There is a total of 22,35,528 rupees cash payment and it has been made to some 40 odd ledger accounts. This report is arranged alphabetically increasing order. We want it to be arranged in amount wise decreasing order. So in order to do so, take your cursor in one of the cells and right click, summarize data, right click, sort data, largest to smallest. You can select the column and go with comma style and reduce the decimal so that it becomes easy for you to read this. Now what you see is the entire report is now available in summarized form and the ledger account having the maximum cash payments during the year are taken at the top of the report. Now, if you want even the total number of vouchers that have been entered, you can again do so by taking this again into value section, but this time instead of value, you can change it to value field setting. Instead of sum, go with count. Okay. Now you can make a lot of sense from this report. Freight charges, loading unloading charges, freight expenses, star services, stamp duty, these are the top 5-6 heads in which the maximum cash has been deployed, and there are this 38 number of vouchers in freight, 235 in loading unloading, 195 in freight expenses and so on. Depending upon the need and requirement, you can further scrutinize this report. I hope you had a very good understanding about how to filter the report in Tally, what maximum you can do in Tally, and for further analysis, how to export the report and apply the relevant tool. Thank you so much for the patient listening. Have a great day.